Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Now, I know everybody hates long-winded intros. I do too. A lot of times I click off. Don't click off. Stay right where you're at. I'll make this as quick as I possibly can. I showed you how to build this 1/64 scale or HO scale pit kit from AutoWorld. It's just a little slot car. And in that video, I posed a question. I needed help. What color should I paint this car? And I gave you two choices because, well, I could not decide. And that was between Poison Green and Carib Blue. And by one vote, the Carib Blue won. Now, why am I going to show you how to paint a car when there's 1,000 videos out there showing how to paint model cars? Well, this isn't paint. This is a pigment. This is a candy pigment. And there are multiple steps to applying a pigment to, well, whatever you're painting, a car, or model, or a gas tank, or helmet, whatever. And I want to show you how to do that. And this is why. Let me show you right here. My very first attempt at painting with a pigment was this. This little itty bitty matchbox car I painted with an orange candy from Createx. And I don't know about you guys, but this thing is gorgeous. One of my favorite paint jobs I have ever done. And the fact that it came out this good on my first attempt, well, that's saying something because I'm not a professional.
All right, so in front of us here is all that we need, I should say need, to create the paint job we're trying to do on this little HO scale slot car. You will also need some mixing cups. I strongly suggest that you use a strainer or a filter. We will need two different types of masking tape. I may not use this one. I actually have some vinyl I might use instead because this masking tape kind of sucks. I'm not going to tell you what brand it is because I don't want to bash anybody, but I get a lot of bleed through using this tape. But something thin like this you're going to need, and then some bigger, thicker masking tape to do your back masking. The products that we are going to use are these Createx products right here in front of us. Now, I know it looks like a lot, but some of these you will buy one time and use them for many, many projects. For example, silver sealer here. This is my primer I'm going to use on this project. I have painted quite a few little itty bitty Hot Wheels with this little bottle of silver sealer, and it goes a long way. So this was, at the time of this, let's see here, I don't know how much I paid for this. I actually bought this one on Amazon. So I'll put links to everything in the description below if you guys want to check this stuff out. But again, this is something that you'll use over and over again. So this is not just for this project, this is for many projects. We will also be using this Hot Rod Sparkle Blue. Now they have different Hot Rod sparkles. This silver sealer, I don't know if you can see it in the slide, but you'll see it once we put it on the car, has a little itty bitty bit of sparkle or pearlescent in it by itself. This one here has bigger flakes, and this happens to be blue. We're going to be painting this car blue, so I'm going to use a blue sparkle. They have red, they have white, I believe they have green. A lot of cool hot rod sparkles that Createx makes. Again, this is something that will be used. I mean, you buy this bottle, you may have it for 2 or 3 or 4 years. You may have it even longer than that. You may have it until it goes back because you don't use a lot of this. We will also be using our 40/50 gloss. We will not be using this as a top coat. This is something that we use as a carrier. Why is that? Because our candies here that we are going to use are not actual paints. I think I may have mentioned this before. These are pigments, so they don't stick to anything. They have to have something to carry them to stick to your project, and we will be using the 40/50 gloss for that. This I will be mixing with these things. I will also be mixing it with my Hot Rod Sparkle. Why? Because this will make this a little bit thicker, which will suspend the sparkle a little bit better in the paint job, so it won't be so flat, a little more 3D, if you will. Okay, again, these things we'll be using for multiple projects. On to our candy paints. I got the black, I got the blue. We're going to be using it for this project. Again, you know, this is specific for this project. This is the color I'm painting the car, but I'm sure if you buy paints, you buy multiple colors because you never know what you're going to use. Again, these bottles here are not terribly bad. Okay, this one here comes from Hobby Lobby. As you can see, I paid $8.99 at Hobby Lobby, but you can find these on Amazon as well. I actually had to buy this one off Amazon. Again, I don't know the price. I think it was maybe a little bit more than this one. Again, check in the description below, links to everything. You can check out the pricing there if you're interested. We will be reducing everything that needs reduced with Createx 4011 Reducer. You can use 4011 Reducer with anything that Createx makes, whether it be their opaque, wicked colors, their candies, anything. This is made for the Createx line of products. And finally, our top coat will be the 4053 High Gloss. And this is something else along with reducer that you're going to use on many projects. So technically the only thing special for this one project are these two colors of candies. Everything else will be used on future projects. Well, of course these will too, but again, these are your staples. Okay, now on to what I will be spraying this with. I just received this new trigger style airbrush from Bucasso, and I want to do a review on it soon, but I want to use it first. I've always wanted a trigger style airbrush. I have purchased, or I shouldn't say purchased, Bucasso has sponsored me before by sending me other items, and the items that they have sent me have proven to be pretty daggone good items, so I'm hoping this one goes along with that trend. I hope it works really well because, like I said, I've been wanting a really good one of these. I bought a super cheap one a long time ago, and it is actually useless. I can't even use it. So fingers crossed that this is going to be great. And again, link in the description for everything. I will be doing a review on this here very shortly. All right, well that was long-winded. Oh, one more thing. I strongly suggest, even if you have a spray booth, use some kind of a respirator. I will be wearing this respirator as well. Because even though these are water-based paints, you know, they still have nasty stuff in them that you don't want to breathe in. So, okay, now I think I am done. Am I done? Yeah, I'm done. Let's get to painting. Okay, we're going to be starting with our silver sealer here. I shook it up really well. Won't need a whole heck of a lot, but we're going to thin it just a little bit with our 4011. Now, if you go to the Createx website, they have formulas. They tell you exactly, you know, use 5% with this, or 6 to 1, or 3 to 1, or 4 to 1 for all their products, whether you're using a automotive spray gun or an airbrush. I just kind of eyeball it. Even they say a lot of times they eyeball it as well. And of course, I've got paint on me already. With any of their products that you are mixing, whether it be they're just regular paints or opaque airbrush paints, the illustrations, paints, their Wicked Color line, no matter what, if you're putting additives in it, you need to let it set for at least 10 minutes, preferably about 15 minutes, to let everything marinate together so it's more consistent and a much better paint job. So again, this is the trigger style airbrush from Bucasso. I have it set at 25 psi. This has a 0.5 millimeter needle and nozzle setup in it. This gun actually comes with 0.3 or 0.35, 0.5 and 0.8. I'm not sure about the first one. Paint's in the brush. We're ready to paint. Here is the car again, and just so you know, before we get started, to prep this car, I washed it with just some regular dish soap and water. Once that dried, I actually hit it with an alcohol swab pad that you do for, like, you know, if you're going to get a shot or something. I use one of those just to make sure everything was nice and clean. And here we are. We have our base coat on our silver sealer, and hopefully you can pick up all the shine. It's very silvery. I'm going to wait till this dries completely. I'm going to hit it with some wet, dry sandpaper, probably 3 or maybe even 8,000 grit. See if I can get rid of that and knock this a little bit level before we go on. But it's going to have to dry overnight. We're getting ready to mix our hot rod sparkle with our 4050 clear and our 4011 reducer. Now, the big question I always get is how much to reduce it. How do you mix your stuff? Well, on the back of every bottle, it tells you exactly how much to mix it. Like here, it says reduce with 4011 10% or more per volume. That's just a starting point. Now, I'm not making huge batches, and I'm adding in some 4050 clear. So I'm going to just basically have to eyeball my reducer to get it to the viscosity that I want for my particular airbrush. Just mix it to where you know it's going to run through your particular airbrush. I don't know if you can see that sparkle in there or not, but it sure is pretty. Put just a little bit more in there. I think I put just a little bit too much 4050 in there. That's good. Yeah, this stuff is thick. Look at that. It just, I hate to say it, but it's like snot. Way too thick. Now I like to start, which I did not do last time, with just a little bit of reducer to get started, because it's easier to add reducer and reducer is a lot cheaper than actual product. Like I said, you know what? If you just take your time, you watch a couple of videos from Createx about their products, watch this video, and just the big thing is knowing your airbrush, knowing what it likes to shoot, the viscosity. And this shooting these candies and these pearls, it's nothing to it. As I say, for my particular airbrushes and for most airbrushes that I've come across, the consistency of milk, maybe just right around milk, a little bit thinner, a little bit thicker, you know, you should be okay. If you start getting down to the water, see how that just rolls really nicely down the side of the cup. I think this is good. If you start getting the consistency of water, then you're over reducing stuff, and it's not going to lay down very good. All right, we've got this mixed up, and like with all Createx products, like I mentioned before, let it sit for about 15 minutes. Come back, we're going to load her up, and we'll shoot this on the car. And that is it for the Hot Rod Sparkle Blue. I know it doesn't show anything at all. It doesn't look like it's blue at all, but here, maybe you can see it on my glove. When it hits that light just right, because my glove is black, it really pops. Anyhow, I'm gonna let this sit here for about an hour. Let that coat dry real well. We'll come back, we'll tape it off, we'll put our black stripe down, and we'll go from there. Here's where we're at right now. As you can see, I have my car masked off. All I did is I took some vinyl, thin vinyl tape, and I put the thin line, that's the black that you can see in here, down. Then I back masked it with regular masking tape. And the blue that you can see right here around the hood, this is liquid mask made by Vallejo. And actually, this is the first time I'm ever trying this product. I've never used a liquid mask before, so I'm hoping it will work. What I have done is I've only masked around the hood scoop area. I want that to be black, then my black stripe down the back. While this liquid mask dries for a little bit, we're going to mix up our next color, and that is our Candy 2.0. This is our black. We'll be mixing this with our 4050 gloss, and for an airbrush, this is 1-to-1 mixture. And I will be thinning it again with my 4011 reducer. We're going to put in our 4050 first. A little thin. Okay. It's all mixed up, and it's very thin, as you can see. And as you can see, also, I made a mess, as usual. So we're going to load up the airbrush, and we're going to paint this real quick. I'm going to put on a very light tack coat to hopefully mitigate anything getting under my tape lines. I must say, I am very happy with how that turned out. Like I said, yeah, I can tell that it's cocked to the left just a little bit. I gotta really practice getting my line straight, but there is no bleed. That is so impressive. That liquid mask is my new favorite best friend. All right, this is dried enough. Now we're gonna put on our final top coat, or our final color, I should say, not our top coat, but our color, which is this carrot blue. It's been mixed up. It has been sitting for 15 minutes. We're going to load up our airbrush and we're going to shoot this. But this airbrush, like I said, I will be doing a review on it here very soon. Just quickly though, I do like it. It works really well. All right, I got tired of filming every coat I did. I did a total of 7 coats of the Carib Blue Candy H2O. And I hope it shows how pretty this turned out. Now I do have a boo-boo right here on the side door. I don't know if you can actually see it or not. Yes, you can. 2 little spots. That is where my airbrush actually spit. I forgot to take the needle protector off like I normally do, and I think a little bit of dried paint got stuck on that, or a little, I shouldn't say dry, but some droplets got stuck on that, and they decided to come off right there. And I put a few more coats on to try to cover it up, but that is as dark as I want to go, so, well, guess what? It's a slot car. It's going to get beat up anyways. But boy, oh boy, I don't know if this camera even does this justice of how pretty this turned out. Let me turn off these lights. Let me turn on my little flashlight on my phone and see if we can see some sparkle. Hit. Oh yeah, look at that hood. Can you see? I don't know if you can see or not, but on that hood, there is definitely some sparkling going on, and it's blue sparkle. And on the rooftop. Well, I know I said that we were going to wait an hour, and I was going to just clear coat this real quick, but as usual, I got ahead of myself and forgot that I want to do some detailing on it first with a brush by hand. I've already gotten started on it, as you hopefully can see right here, maybe. I have put some chrome on the mirrors. I have actually put some chrome on the front bumper there and on the headlights. And what I've used for that is one of these Molotow liquid chrome pins. This used to be my ultra fine tip, but I at one point in time got a little heavy-handed when pushing the tip down to load it up, and I shove the tip all the way back up into the pen. So now I use this with just an ultra fine paintbrush. Works just as well, actually. Okay, well, I have it taped off as best that I can get it, and it's not going to be the greatest. I'm still going to be very, very careful. Again, I am using a wicked golden yellow for the indicator lights. Shake it up a little bit. And as before, wish me luck. I'm going to put just a little itty bitty dab on the tip of this small paintbrush. Come in here and dab it on. Try not to hit the camera this time, which I just did. Well, let's see how bad I ruined it. Time to peel the tape. Well, that one came out okay. Not bad. I am happy with that outcome. As you can see, I've started on the taillights. Again, I did the liquid chrome first and came in with the red. Now that we have our airbrush tip fixed, we have some paint left over on there. And what we're going to do, man, this is really hard to do behind the camera, folks. So I might mess this one up. Is it going to come in here very carefully, straight in, and just do it kind of like that. Make sure you're perpendicular. You don't want to be like this. That's how you get paint on other areas you don't want to get paint on. Okay, I showed you the one. Now I'm going to move this camera out of the way so I can finish the other two without messing up this car. We are ready for clear coat. Now, just a moment ago, I showed you how to very carefully fill in and paint your red lenses. Since then, off camera, I went ahead and I painted the bezels black on the car. I also painted the mirrors, and I don't think I showed you, but I did paint the door handles chrome, and I painted these little air intakes, or I don't even know if those are air intakes because I don't own a Ford Mustang, but I know those are black, so I painted that black as well. Now the front grille I have not painted black. I don't know if I'm going to or not, but I do want to use a clear coat over that first, because what I'm going to use for that, I think, is this panel line accent color from Tamiya. I don't want to use a thick paint. I just kind of want it to get in there and give me some shadows and stuff. So this is all ready to go. Next step is going to be our clear. And for that, I will be using this Createx UVLS 4053 High Gloss. This product, Createx recommends using nothing smaller than a 0.5 millimeter airbrush needle. I put in the 0.8 in this airbrush so we can see how this is going to work with the 0.8, which is, a lot better than the 0.5. And this will be going out of this airbrush using about 18 to 20 psi on the air compressor. I will say, I have shot this through a 0.35 millimeter airbrush many times. You just have to reduce the holy snot out to get it to go through that small of a needle. And I really wanted to try to use this stuff as it's intended to be mixed and not over reduce it for the smaller needle. Okay, one last note about using this product. How this goes on. You want to do a medium wet coat. What does that mean? That means you want it to look kind of like a little bluish color, not a heavy coat where it's all muddy or cloudy, but a little bit of a blue tint. It might be hard to see on this car because it's blue, and you want a 50% overlap. I don't think we're going to have an issue with the 50% overlap of something this small. It's going to be super easy to achieve that. But on a larger item, you want a 50% overlap, which means you probably want to use a larger gun than an airbrush. Coat time. You want this product to be completely dry before you put on your next coat. And it only takes about 15 minutes in a good, comfortable, decently warm, not damp environment. You want it completely dry to the touch, not tacky, but dry. Now I know I originally said I was going to put just 3 coats of clear on this car, and I showed you the first coat. Well, I'm getting ready to put my last coat on, and it is actually coat number 7. I've been painting this thing all afternoon. I realized that being a slot car, maybe I should put a thicker top coat on it than I normally would. All right, well, it's been 72 hours since my final top clear coat on our 1/64 scale slot car. Since then, I did a cleaner wax on it and I ceramic coated it. Why? Because I can. So let's take a look at it. And here she is, our Boss Mustang. Again, this is an Auto World white kit. And as you can see, with this candy blue paint job, they come out extraordinarily beautiful as well when you do it right, which I know all of you can do. This is not a hard thing to do. With that being said, let's take some closer looks at it, the final paint job.